You know this person. We've all met them at work. They're super friendly, always supportive, and they make you feel like you're actually being heard. But what if that smile is actually a strategy? We're about to dive into a story of trust, perception, and the hidden games that get played in the office. So here's the big question. Is your work ally really an ally? I mean, it gets right to the heart of corporate politics, doesn't it? When someone in a position of power, say someone from HR, takes a sudden special interest in you, what's really going on there? Let's walk through how this classic scenario usually plays out. Okay, so picture this. It often starts when someone new joins the company. In our story, it's an HR professional. Almost right away, they seem to connect with a specific employee. They just feel different, you know? Way more supportive than you're used to. And the way they do it, it's straight out of a playbook. You get these frequent check-ins, just wanted to see how you're doing. They're amazing listeners, super empathetic. And then comes the killer line, something like, you seem really talented. It works like a charm, right? I mean, who doesn't want to feel like someone at work finally gets them? And that feeling seen, that's so rare in most jobs that trust just skyrockets, super fast. So what happens next is totally predictable. The employee lets their guard down. They start sharing everything, the real frustrations, the big ideas they've been holding back, all because they think, finally, I have an ally here. But this right here, this is where everything starts to shift. And the scary part is, the employee has no clue. The friendly, supportive relationship they think they're building, it's not that at all. Yeah, this is the pivot point, like one of our sources said, and that's where things start to shift. Because now that the trust is there, now that the information is flowing freely, a totally different conversation is happening, one that the employee is not a part of. And this is the cold, hard truth of it. The employee thinks they have an ally, but in reality, they've just become a data source. Every candid thought, every frustration, it's all just raw material now, ready to be packaged and used. So now you've got this wild situation where one person is having two totally separate conversations, saying one thing to the employee and something completely different behind closed doors. It's the art of corporate translation. Just look at how this plays out. To you, they're saying, hey, I'm here to support you. But in the CEO's office, that same sentiment becomes, seems a bit dissatisfied. When you talk about your frustrations, they translate it as, might not be fully aligned with our goals. And those awesome, valuable ideas you shared? Whoa, suddenly they're a potential long-term risk. It's incredible. And that's the genius of it in a twisted way. They're not lying. Not outright anyway, that would be too risky. No, it's all about selective presentation. They take what you said, pull it out of context, and just tilt it. They reframe it to tell a story that benefits them. And here's what's so dangerous about this whole thing. The CEO, the higher-ups, they only hear that one carefully crafted narrative. The employee has zero idea this is even happening. They're just going about their day thinking they've got this great connection in HR. So you gotta ask, right? Why? Why would someone do this? Well, it all boils down to a fundamental rule of the workplace. Information is never just information. It's currency. It's influence. It's power. There's actually a psychological term for this. It's called impression management. And what it means is that this HR person is trying to control how other people see things. They're not just shaping leadership's opinion of the employee. What's really important to them is shaping leadership's opinion of themselves. They want to look smart, plugged in, and totally on the leadership team's side. And if you break it down, it's a pretty simple 4-step playbook. Step 1, find your target, someone who's willing to talk. Step 2, use that friendly, empathetic vibe to pull out information. Step 3, spin that info for the bosses. And Step 4, the grand prize. You look like a superstar and gain a ton of credibility with the people in charge. So why does this even happen in the first place? Well, think about it. If you're new in a role like HR, you need to show your worth, and you need to do it fast. And what's the fastest path to influence? Aligning yourself with leadership. And when that's your top priority, well, protecting the employee who gave you all that juicy info, that kind of falls way, way down the list. Okay, so after all that, what are we supposed to do with this information? What's the big takeaway? If there's anything you walk away with today, let it be these next few points. They're crucial for navigating this stuff. This is probably the most important thing to understand to protect yourself. We all naturally assume that if someone is nice to us, we're in a good spot. But the real danger isn't in that direct interaction. It's in the gap. The gap between how they treat you to your face and how they talk about you behind your back. That's the blind spot. That's where people get into trouble. So here's the first rule. Niceness is not loyalty. It's simple, but so important. A smile, a friendly word, that's just a social skill. Loyalty is something completely different. You can't mistake one for the other. And the second rule is just as important. Attention is not protection. It's easy to think that when a manager or someone from HR is paying a lot of attention to you that you're safe. But what we just saw shows that attention isn't a shield. It's a spotlight. And it makes you a source of information. So when you boil it all down, what really matters? It's the flow of information. That's it. If you can figure out who has the information, where it's going, and most importantly, how it's being spun, then you'll understand the real game being played at your job. So I'll leave you with this one last question to think about. In your own workplace, who's the one that's really controlling the narrative? Who's telling the stories? Because figuring that out, that might just be the most important thing you ever learn about your career.